On July 12th, I partook in the World Championship Series from Xterra. So I flew all the way up to Wales, UK, and I competed in the half marathon trail. Long story short, I placed pretty well, and this is the recap of that event. Hi, my name is Mooney Warfield, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. I'm a distance runner based out of Colorado, and I'm excited to see you here, so let's get into the video.
We can just go to the club. We have club access.
We do?
Yes, it's me. We have club access. I'm just unwilling to pay for you to have it by yourself. This is like random, but it feels like being in New York City, doesn't it? New York.
Traveling around was pretty chill. We got to the airport a couple hours before the flight. Everything moved quickly. Nothing really too extensive happened during that time, but was able to chill at the lounge, relax, have a moment to myself to kind of just debrief. We checked a couple bags, but then also brought carry-ons. It was my mother and I, obviously. And the flight itself, don't have any videos or anything from that, but it was pretty chill. I tried to stay up the entire time so that I could go to sleep when I got there, because I've heard that helps with jet lag, but I think I ended up taking an hour-long nap in the middle of the flight since it was about 8.5 hours. It's a beefeater.
The beefeater is the guard at the Tower of London. I don't know.
So here's one of the only other pictures I actually have at the airport, just sending from the terminal. But basically traveling from the airport to the actual place to stay. So we flew into Heathrow, which is in London, but we had to drive to Wales. First time really being in the UK, so the left side of the road was completely new for me personally. Thank goodness I wasn't the one driving. But we had to drive all the way through about, I think it was 8 or 9 hours through side streets and things like that that were just a little bit scary at certain times, but we got to see a lot of sheep before we eventually did arrive at the hotel. So the day after we arrived was the 9th of July, and I had my first ever English breakfast. It was actually really good. I never understood why we put beans on things in the UK and everywhere, but I learned why, because those beans were really good. Not only that, but the people who were running the hotel, it was kind of like their house situation, were one of the most genuine, loving people I have had the pleasure of meeting. But of course, some things kind of were a little bumpy already, because I realized that I had left my 2 my soft flask water bottles at home when I was unpacking that night. So we also ended up going to a store that was in the little area. There wasn't much, there's not much there, it's a small town. Ended up getting some of those water bottles because like an idiot, I forgot them at home. But I ended up also just doing a run that day, kind of getting a lay of the land, just trying to feel out where I was, since where I was also where I was racing. I don't know how I got here. I was just following a loop and I kept going up. Now I'm well above where I started. Oh my god, they're so cute. I love them. And I did 2 runs that day. The first one was more chill. The second one was actually as part of the course. So I did end up seeing the first 3 1/4-ish of the course on that day as well. So really quickly, just to pull you out for a second, on the 10th, I believe, I actually saw this sign on the side of the road, and I thought it was really cool since it's my last name. But yeah, with that, back to the story. I'm in the middle of my run, and here's something you don't see every day. This is the course right here. That's kind of fun. This is crazy. This is the view. So on the 10th, I ended up running the last couple miles of the course, so that by the end of that, I had the first 3 miles and the last 3 miles of the course in my head. I knew where steps were, I knew what was gonna happen. And in full honesty, that course was probably one of the most beautiful courses, if not the most beautiful course I have been privileged to run on. And yeah, with that being said, honestly, I felt honored to just be able to be there at that point. Little did I know that as I was running my run, there's a section of very steep shale rock going up and down. I didn't know that at the time, going down as fast as I ended up having a minor issue with my shoe that turned major. Basically, the curing of the bottom of the shoe had not been done properly, maybe. And so what started as a small little rip that I hadn't noticed ended up making it to where I lost the sole of my shoe. And they were my racing shoes for the week, so it became a bit of a problem. So I basically ended up going to the only real running store in the entire area we were in. And I tried to find something that was the most similar to what I was going to wear. And this is me doing a stride in the new shoes because, yeah, in less than 48 hours I had a race and I had to find shoes at this point.
So what happens? This is like the village, right? And
There's gonna be tents set up here tomorrow.
And you'll start somewhere. I think all the tents are back there. You'll start somewhere here.
Or maybe this
and you'll go up that one. One of those.
We do a double, so I think we come through there, and then I believe my race comes down this one, but the full marathon goes up that one.
Well, I'm only asking about your race.
But I'm not sure is the issue.
And then where do you go around the river? The lake, and over to this side to come down?
The river. We cross a bridge thing that's over there that you can't see from here, and we go up. You see there's two hills here. There's a big one up there, and there's a second one with all the lush greenery.
Yeah.
We go up the lush greenery one, and we come down those slits right there.
The ones with the power lines running through them.
Yeah, we come up right the power lines, and we come back down through. You can't see it because it's all covered in greenery, but there's a little trail that's like a single track switchbacks.
There it is.
And then we shoot down this way, and we finish.
And so that shale is where you ripped your shoe?
Yeah.
In the quarry. Got it. So
I got there during setup, which was very nice, being able to see things kind of come together at the last minute. And I ended up just being able to check in, get bag checked, all those kind of things. Just before, that way I didn't have to do it the day of, because you could do it the day of, but I really didn't want to. And it was also one of the first races where I had to be present. A lot of races allow you to send somebody else to go get your stuff, and that was not the case for this race. Basically, I had to be present, otherwise I wasn't gonna get my stuff. But I ended up meeting a really great person. His name's June, and he kind of did a mini interview with me. It was really cool, so I'll play that really quickly.
All the way, where are you from?
I'm from Colorado, USA.
Which town?
Fort Collins.
Is it far from Denver?
About an hour and a half north.
Okay, just next to Denver.
Yeah.
Croatia, Cranberries.
I don't know if I can say that.
I said that, welcome in Cranberries.
Oh, nice name, Cranberries. That's my best right there.
Cool.
So on top of having that little mini interview and bag checks and kind of just looking around at all the little stops and shops, I gotta do something I've always wanted to do, which was sign my name on a large board. That's, I don't know why, I've always wanted to do something like that. So the fact that I was able to, write my name, write a little message, and have it be seen by other people was really inspirational, really cool for me as a first-time person being able to do that. And honestly, I felt extremely grateful to be a part of that situation. So I took a picture of the course map really quickly so you can see the little elevation gain right there. Not little, it's actually quite a lot. And I also ended up getting my bid, 262, had my name on it, everything. It was a really cool situation to be in. And then there was also the board, which had my name, as I am pointing out. These are all the people who were a part of the World Championship event. So a quick story time about the shoes, actually. as you saw in a couple of those clips, I was wearing these purple shoes. Those are the ones that I bought the day before, so on the 10th, yes. However, that night after bib check-in, I went to a local running store, the same one, because they were having a little shakeout race or shakeout run before the race. There we go. And Normal, the company, was actually there to sample and demo, and I actually really liked their shoes a lot. So what ended up happening was I demoed their shoes. They had my size. I really liked them, and they were also sponsoring the race. They had a tent that I had seen earlier. And the guys there who were there were extremely kind, extremely just nice in general. So they basically said, on the race day, we will reserve a demo shoe for you if you want to race in it. And that's what ended up happening. I'll talk more about that in a minute, but basically I ended up running in demo shoes for the race. So, yeah. So, race day ended up starting with, just the normal cereal breakfast like I normally have. It started also, went straight to the venue. My race was at 9. I got to the venue at like 7:40, 7:30. The reason being because 1, I wanted to just get situated, but 2, also I had to get shoes. So I ended up going to the Normal tent, and they gave me the exact same shoes I wore the night before, these black demo shoes. And very excited that I was able to even have shoes that I actually liked, because I did like those shoes when I got to demo them for a couple miles the night before. But with that being said, I ended up just doing a standard warm-up. I had in my head I had a couple plans, like a hydration plan. It was going to be hot. It was almost 90 degrees, no shade on the course, and super sunny, no cloud coverage. And so I knew it was going to be hot, and it was going to just be a lot. So I had like a hydration plan and gel plan. And then I also just had a race plan where I knew I could be near the front. I knew I could be in the top. I knew I wanted to start in the front. But I also knew not to get carried away in the first mile or two, because the first half mile was flat before it was inclines until basically mile 7. So because of that, I kind of just told myself, like, go out in the front, be there, put yourself in it, but don't be stupid. Because there's also these things called segment challenges during the race. And these segment challenges are designed, like they're mini gifts for them. So basically, who can run this segment the fastest? And the first segment is from the start to the half mile point. So people are gonna go out really hard to try and get that segment. And I knew, don't get caught up with that. So to get more into the race, basically first mile or half mile was flat. I came across the segment challenge because they do have the placemats or the mats there. I came across in 10th, but I was a part of this very large group that was probably downwards of like 23rd, 24th was like in that group. Top 25 basically was within that group. Besides a couple guys who were well in front who were doing the segment challenge. Over the course of the next couple miles, like until mile 3.5, I kind of found my own space, found my place, and I felt solid, I felt good. Mile 3.5, it dips down for about half a mile. I was able to open up past like 2 more people. Then it became flat, then it got really steep, including mile 6 is where I ended up having some issues. My hydration, everything was fine. I think it was just, I wasn't used to that much elevation climb in a mile. For that specific mile, mile 6, there was 1,500 feet of elevation in 1 mile, which turned into a how fast can I walk situation. Slowest mile I've ever done in a race, ever. And I ended up losing a lot of places going into that. So by mile 7, I just felt out of it anymore. I just didn't feel very good. The heat was getting to me. I was just tired. I had a lot of stress and mentally just didn't feel good anymore. However, somebody who I know and I met a couple days before basically went to pass me, and it like kicked this little mindset into my head of, you can hang with this person. Do it. And because of that, downhills are my strength, I was able to just really just open up and just let myself go on the downhill, which a lot of people, I think there's a mental barrier with that. Do what you're comfortable with. I am most comfortable with really steep, crazy downhills where I can just fly, unlike some people who like to take it more cautiously. I am not that person. But because of that, I ended up getting to the road where my mother passed me some water bottles. And I don't know what place I was at the road. I think I probably was in like 17th, 16th, I don't know. Basically just got some water bottles, went back up. I lost a couple places because I was in a pack at that point, so I had to catch up to that pack, pass them. But over the last couple little bit, that's the same last 2 miles that I had done my run on 2 days before, so I knew what I could do. And coming on the downhill, I just kept passing people and came to the really long like dirt road stretch before you even get to the field again. And I remember thinking just go. There's nothing else you can do. I have a decent sized gap, I think, to the person behind me, but I'm not sure anymore. I know I just passed them technically, so I just need to just try my best to find anything in my body to just let me get to the finish line. And when I got to the finish line, I just remember I walked a couple of steps, fell on the ground, just laid there for a while. Eventually I got up, I got some oranges, got some stuff, finally got out of the chute. And then after all that happened, I was able to just kind of sit down in front of a random tent and just contemplate everything that had happened, because I felt extremely lucky, but I also was in a lot of pain at that point. So, like I said, I was extremely grateful, so I took a sign in front of the Xterra wall. I ended up buying the normal shoes in the end, a new pair, not the demos, and I took one last picture, one last look around under Xterra sign before I walked away and found another sign that I did my post-race thoughts on.
Now.
So this is immediate post-race thoughts. I finished a couple hours ago, but it's kind of been crazy recently with everything going on. I think I placed 14th. There's a bit of an issue with timing, it seems, right now. It's so hot that they've actually canceled the marathon, ultra, and the 24-hour. They're pulling people off the course as people are dropping and not being able to finish, get up. Heat strokes is very common right now. And it's hot, so I get it. Overall, for my personal race, I think I went out perfectly. I felt strong. I felt smart, which is good. There's a lot of mentally just feeling almost impossible, but able to push through that. At the top, which was about, almost 7 miles, I was sitting in about 39th, and then by the end, we think 14th. So downhill running came in handy like I was hoping. But I definitely still stuck my nose in it from the beginning, and I think that's why I'm happy and proud about walking away. I don't sound very proud or happy right now just because I'm extremely tired and hot. But yeah, that's kind of how it went. It was the first couple miles I was trying to play it smart, and because of playing it smart, I was able to start to move through rankings. And by the top, once I was able to turn around, I had enough in me to catch the people that had gone out fast enough, too hard, and pull and rein in a bunch of people. So I think there was only a couple things I wish I would have corrected and done differently leading up and on the day of. But those are minor and not something that I'm going to be sitting back and thinking horrible thoughts about. For nutrition, everything was okay for the first part. What ended up happening was I got really bad stomach issues, but then they went away, and I think that was more heat related than nutrition. But at that point, I was probably sitting at mile 9, so I didn't really want to keep trying. At mile 11, I got new water bottles from my mom, who was sitting on the side of the course. Thank you, Mom. And I was able to down those going uphill before I made the mad dash through the last mile and a half, trying to catch as many people as I could. But overall, happy and proud and tired. So obviously now I've been removed from the race for about a month. Actually, I think it's a month today. And looking back, I am 100% extremely proud of what I did. And I'm 100% happy for the opportunity and grateful, and just everything just kind of aligned that day. And I mentioned in like that post race immediately, there's a couple things I wish I would have fixed, and in full honesty, I don't even know what I was talking about. Like I think a couple training things I can think of, like I wish I had trained more uphill, but like of the day of, I have no clue what I would have changed. So I think I'm very critical after a race. If I feel like I had a good race, it means I had basically a perfect race. And but with that being said, obviously training went a little downhill after Worlds, after getting sick and everything. So getting back into it again, that was definitely a high point this year. So yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you back here. If you are new here, please subscribe. It really does mean the world to me. And if you want to watch more, here are some videos that YouTube is recommending to you, I guess. So with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.